When looking at the chances for a season 2 for this anime, there's a couple of things to look at. And that is, first, it came out in 2016 of winter. It only sold 1,847 copies of the Blu-rays and the DVDs. It is based on a light novel. Yes, it does have a manga, but the manga seems to have been discontinued back in 2018. There's just nothing being new about it. And of course, the light novels does have an ending. The last light novel came out August the 6th of 2020, so of course this year, and it does have an ending. I won't spoil what happens, but if you want to know what happens, I'm sure you can find out through going through the internet and sifting through it. There is no legal English translation, it seems, but I'm sure some people will work out a way to find out what happens in the story itself. The main thing I want to talk about, though, is that, of course, the chances of a Season 2, and if Season 2 was to be announced, it would have been announced by now. I think the only way a Season 2 would have happened was if they did a last huzzah to kind of get re-promotions into the light novels itself, with the light novels concluding when I said it would have been really cool and really smart to do a second season to re-promote the light novels, to get people reinvigorated and re-interested in the light novels, especially with the fact there are 20 volumes. I'm very sure they had plenty of material to work with. But the fact is that they have not announced the season 2 or any form of it at all. Just want to note that, because there are some websites and YouTube channels claiming that it's already been announced when it hasn't. I think it's very safe to say that the chances of a season 2 are very slim to none, just based on the fact that, one, the DVDs and the Blu-rays didn't do well. Yeah, there is a little bit of merchandise in Japan. The light novels did end on a good ending itself. It actually finished the story. That's definitely good. The manga, again, dropped off the face of the planet, but the fact remains is if they were going to do a season 2, at least in my opinion, and take my opinion with a grain of salt, I may be right, I may be wrong, but I think season 2 would have already happened by now if it was to happen to re-promote the light novels. Unless some miracle happens, a couple of years later they suddenly decide to do a second season to just reinvigorate the light novels after all that point. I just think that's a little bit too wishful thinking. But I do want to note that there have been some YouTube channels out there putting the word Season 2 release date updates, and then they proceed to try and blame the pandemic for why it hasn't been announced yet. And they go, will the anime get a Season 2? I believe yes. I just don't know why the creator hasn't brought any new information. But it's possible because of the current pandemic. I'm really tired of seeing websites and YouTube channels blame the pandemic for things not being announced when the pandemic has nothing to do with announcements. When everything was shut down and we were sort of in that weird situation, we were still getting new seasonal announcements and new anime announcements while that was ongoing. You can check my channel and see through the news log, there was still announcements ongoing. I mean, How to Not Summon a Demon Lord got announced during that period, and there were a bunch of other new animes being announced. So to use this as an excuse for why it hasn't been announced is really poor. I can understand if it had been announced and it been given a release date, then I could understand people saying, well, that's why it's been delayed by 3 months, because the studio couldn't work on producing the anime, but the anime had never been announced. So that is a very poor excuse. To then turn around and say more information on the season 2 should be available and it will come out in some time of 2021 to 2022, it's like saying that it might come out between now and the end of time itself. It's such a loose way of wording things. It's such a lazy way of doing things, and it just shows that these websites don't really care about actually giving you a realistic idea. They just want to string you along with a carrot on a stick and hope that you sub and like their video, which, again, hook, line, and sinker. You read comments of those videos and websites and you see a bunch of kids instantly eating it up as if like it's been confirmed. And especially when you've got the word Season 2 release date updates. I'm sorry if I'm ranting, but it really does annoy me. When you put the word Season 2 release date updates, that implies it has been announced and that you're giving a release date update, which means you're giving a date of when it's coming out. Not sitting there saying it's not announced, don't know when it's going to be announced, but it might come out in the next 3 years. You never know. That's not a release date, that's clickbait. And I'm sorry, I'm sick of these kids and these channels, which are run by kids, doing this and getting away with it without being criticized by other people, because people just eat it up. As much as I would love to see a season 2 for the memes and the lols, as much as I would love it to, I don't see it happening, purely for the fact that, again, the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the light novel was finished, the manga was discontinued. It just things don't see in its favor. It's just frustrating because as soon as you go to Google, you see a bunch of YouTube channels, a bunch of websites just stringing kids along, and then they end up getting disheartened, they end up getting upset and agitated, and then they come to channels like mine in my Will It Happen videos demanding and asking why it hasn't been announced already and why have they been misled. But again, I've spoken to some of these channels, they know they clickbait, they just don't care. So again, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you think won in the light novels? I'm not going to spoil. You might be quite happy. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who was your favorite waifu out of it? But if you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe for more anime content. And I will see you, beautiful nerds, in the next video.